We got the Realme C1 pretty late, so instead of unboxing it, we decided to pit it against the Redmi 6 to see how it stacks up. Hey guys, my name is Ash, you're watching C4E Tech. Let's get started. If you do end up liking this video, please don't forget to turn on notifications by clicking that bell icon. And oh yeah, if you're new here, here's a card to our monthly giveaway. Check it out. Now let's kick this one off with what I know matters to a lot of you guys, the cameras. There are dual rear cameras on both these phones. The Realme C1 sports a 13 megapixel f2.2 camera coupled with a 2 megapixel depth sensing unit, while on the Xiaomi side of things we have a 12 plus 5 megapixel setup. The secondary camera once again being used for portrait shots and such. Coming to the photos themselves, you can see that both these cameras can shoot pretty good daytime pictures. Zoom in a bit though and you can see the detail levels are higher on the images shot with the Realme C1. Just look at the texture on the bark of this tree. The image processing too is better on the C1, as you can see the texture of the brick here. Moving on to low light shots, well, both the cameras struggled here. Side by side though, it is apparent that the Redmi 6 has an advantage, especially when using night mode, or as Xiaomi calls it, handheld twilight. With HHD, the Redmi 6 did produce brighter images overall. Next up, we have the portrait shots. These two are quite evenly matched here. The edge detection is decent and so are the detail levels. Flipping the cameras over, both these devices can take selfie portraits with their 5 megapixel front cameras. The detail levels are good and so is the edge detection, but the AI beauty mode on the Realme C1 seems to be a bit too much. Even with it off, I prefer the skin tones from the Redmi 6. On to videos then, the Realme C1 again has better detail levels and colors too. The video though is a bit more stable on the Redmi 6 thanks to EIS. Now despite that, when it comes to cameras overall, we kind of feel the Realme C1 does have an edge. Now enough about cameras, let's talk a little bit about the build and design of these two phones. On one hand, you have the Realme C1, a super glossy back. It looks good but feels slippery. On the other hand, we have the Redmi 6. Smooth curves combined with a smaller form factor makes it very easy to operate with a single hand. Now there are two different types of design languages at play here. Personally, I prefer the Realme C1's build. Looks a little bit different compared to others in this segment, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's better, because I do like how compact the Redmi 6 feels. So which one is better? Well, here is a poll. You guys decide, because it is going to be personal preference. That said, this round doesn't end in a tie, because the Redmi 6 sports a rear-mounted fingerprint sensor, while the Realme C1 gets rid of that and relies solely on its AI-powered face unlock. The added biometric protection tilts the scales very slightly towards the Redmi 6 in this one. Now while I love the fingerprint sensor on the Redmi 6, the speaker to the back isn't something that I'm really fond of. In fact, when you put them side by side on a table, the bottom mounted speaker on the C1 just blows away the muffled sounds coming out of the Redmi 6. And it's not just that, the 6.2-inch screen on the Realme C1 makes for a much better movie watching experience than the smaller 5.45-inch screen on the Redmi 6. Talking about the screens, they are both bright and vibrant and have excellent viewing angles. The major difference between these two HD Plus panels is their size and of course the notch. Love it or hate it, you gotta admit the C1 has really thin bezels for an under 10K phone, and that's quite possibly because of that notch. In fact, it is quite impressive that Realme has managed to cram in a 6 plus inch screen into a frame that's only slightly taller than the Redmi 6. What's even more impressive is that we have Gorilla Glass 3 on the front panel of the Realme C1, no such mention for the Redmi 6 though. So overall, because of all these reasons, I'm gonna have to give this round to the Realme C1. Now from displays to internals, let's talk about the processors underneath that are powering all these pixels. Both of these have octa-core chips. On the Realme C1, there's the 1.8 GHz Snapdragon 450, while the Redmi 6 has the MediaTek Helio P22 clocked in at 2 GHz. The increase in clock speed along with the extra gig of RAM, 3 gigs compared to 2, means that the Redmi 6 has an advantage when it comes to multitasking and benchmarks. When it comes to real world usage, both these phones perform pretty well. Apps open up quick and browsing through social media is a breeze. Fire up a game though and the Realme C1 manages to turn the tables. The Adreno 506 GPU seems to perform better when it comes to intensive titles like Asphalt 9, as we can see the PowerVR GE8320 does start to lag behind. Coming to the memory front, we've got 16 gigs of onboard storage on the C1, while the Redmi 6 comes in 32 or 64 gig flavors. Storage shouldn't be an issue as both these devices have a dedicated microSD slot. Powering all of this, we have a 3000 mAh battery on the Redmi 6, while the Realme, well, it gets a massive 40 to 30 mAh battery. Even with a smaller screen and a more efficient 12nm processor, the Redmi 6 shouldn't be able to keep up with the Realme. Going by our previous experiences with the Snapdragon 450, the C1 should have some exceptional battery life. So at the end of the hardware roundup, we find that the Redmi 6 has a marginally faster CPU and more memory, while the Realme C1 has a slightly faster GPU and almost 40% higher battery capacity. So this round kinda ends in a tie. So finally, let's talk software. We have MIUI 10 on the Redmi 6 and ColorOS version 5.1 on the Realme C1. Both are based on Android 8.1 Oreo, but they do veer pretty far from stock. Each comes with its own unique feature set. I'm not gonna bore you by going through all these features, so instead, here's a card to a detailed MIUI 10 video. Check it out if you want to know more. As far as preferences go, I kind of prefer MIUI to ColorOS. Some things like the inability to swipe away notifications annoy me a bit. However, these are just minor quirks that take a bit of getting used to. We also have AI-based face unlock on both these phones, and for some reason, the Redmi 6 is often slower and at times even inaccurate. No such complaints with the Realme C1. Anyway, with all that wrapped up, let's finally come to the price. The 332 Redmi 6 comes in at 8,000 rupees, while the Realme C1 is a full 1,000 rupees cheaper at 7,000. If you really want that extra gig of RAM and 16 gigs of memory or a fingerprint sensor, if that's top priority, then get a Redmi 6. Otherwise, do yourself a favor, save 1,000 rupees and maybe buy one of these with it and get yourself a Realme C1. It's a great value for money phone. I think Xiaomi for about the last 18 months or so have been taking the online market for granted and trying to push into offline. That has resulted in an opening that Realme is more than happy to exploit. At the end of the day, we the consumers are the winners, right? So which of these two phones would you prefer? Let me know in the comments below. And if you know someone who is shopping for phones within a tight budget, then share this video with them. And with that, it's now time I bid you adieu. Thumbs up, thumbs down based on what you felt about this video. Also subscribe and turn on notifications by clicking that bell icon so that you don't miss out on any of my daily content. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye bye.